Shout out BigSteve.
Hello, welcome to another episode of the BB MMA Podcast. I'm your host, BigSteve, as usual. Second to last episode of the Contender Series, one more to go. And then we're out of here, hopefully finish up with a profit. Haven't really calculated. But yeah, bringing my special guest back on. But I'll just do a quick little overview of last week, which was another profitable week, and then we'll get straight into it. So, Vinicius Oliveira versus Madrigal. I had a full unit bet on the under 2.5 rounds. I would have played the under 1.5, honestly. Seeing Madrigal hurt by Checo Quinones, Teco, that was a red flag, and he gets hurt a lot. So, I thought the Rojo KO was a fluke, but no, it was quite clear in the tape. So I was up a half a unit there, and then played Carly Judas KO decision, almost pick him. Couldn't decide if she was going to get a KO or win a decision because I did think she was the better fighter on tape. My gut was telling me dog or pass, low-level female MMA. It's just the Ernesta girl is, her path was a split decision, and I 3 bets in a row already. I passed on the dog whose path is a split decision, and they ended up getting a split. Rondon over Vidal in the UFC as well. So, so that was a bad bet. I mean, even though it was a split, she could have won. Yeah, short notice, bad bet. Danny Silva, Pacheco. I had nothing here, but then I live bet Pacheco when he came on round 2. I thought he maybe could come into it. That was a bad bet too because my notes had that Danny Silva was a better fighter and he had a better cardio. So I was 500 down. I was a little bit annoyed by those forced bets. And then I just ended up jumping on the Piazzone train with a lot of people and then put a big bet, live bet. Not a big bet, a quarter unit live bet because I can't win much with my bet 365. So won that and passed on Barlow, which is annoying because I talked about it with Pepe. But yeah, ended up with a half a unit profit. So I essentially profited every single week other than a week where I lost $5,000. But yeah, I'll calculate at the end of the season. We'll see where we're at. How are you, Mr. Subliminal?
Very well, sir. Thank you for having me on.
It's good to have you back. Yeah, let's get straight into the card, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
Mauricio Ruffy versus Raimond Magomedaliev. I'm close to having a bet on this fight, but I'm interested in your thoughts. What do you got for me?
Yeah, so this is quite a good fight. Looking forward to this one. Raimond, he's pretty well rounded. He's I'd say he's good everywhere. Not amazing anywhere, but he's good everywhere. He can wrestle with his opponents when he doesn't want to strike, or if they have like a striking advantage, and then if they have a wrestling advantage, he can strike with them. So he's kind of well-rounded in that sense. He's strong in the clinch. He's got a lot of close-range weapons. I haven't seen a lot of him at range, although he did absolutely dead some guy with a straight right. But most of his weapons are in the clinch. He does slow down quite a bit. Not always in the highest pace fights as well. So I don't know if his cardio is great, but he has been to decisions and everything. But he does kind of noticeably slow down. This Mauricio Ruffy guy fighting out of Fighting Nerds, which is quite a good camp. They're doing quite well at the moment. He's got nice striking, good distance management for the most part. He looks to counter, seems to have pretty good takedown defense in space and against the cage. The issue with him is that he fights with his hands down and he keeps getting dropped, and obviously got knocked out versus Souza, but Souza's a beast. But he did get knocked out there. He also got dropped versus Lascar, I think it was. But he recovered well, and obviously I think he finished in the next round. But both these guys are quite low volume. I think Raimond could obviously have success with the takedowns, although his takedown defense does look pretty good, Ruffy. He throws a lot of spinning back kicks and spinning kicks, Ruffy, so he needs to chill with that because he does it almost like once a minute, and it's probably going to get him taken down. But I prefer the striking of the Brazilian. and I haven't checked the line in a couple of hours. I don't know what it's doing, but he was a decent sized dog.
I think he's improved.
195. Jesus.
It's
Getting up to
yep.
200, which is probably going to be a bet for me, to be honest. I understand people favoring the Russian. Or is he Russian? Or where is he from?
He's definitely Russian. He trains with Makachev.
Oh, okay, yeah. But yeah, I think at underdog odds, I think I like the Brazilian here. What about you?
I agree, man. I agree. Taping Ruffy, I thought he was a bit special. He's got that touch butt style, touch butt in the park, as Conor McGregor would say. Really hands low. The last two fights, Centurion, which I watched on the fight, but you can actually watch it for free on a few places, Facebook, and I think you said YouTube as well.
Mm-hmm.
He fought twice in one night. And obviously getting sparked by Souza, back in 2019. Souza, like you said, is good. He has power. That's his thing. And he actually hurt Souza multiple times. But then he got deaded, which is, okay. Hope he puts his hands up since then, And then 3 years later, or 4 years later, you watch him get dropped in the first fight in Centurion by this Cornelio, 11-6. And it's like, nah, that's just his style. His hands are completely by his knees, and he will not fix that. And he doesn't seem to be the most, what's the word, reflex-driven guy. Like all these guys with their hands low have great reflexes, MVP, etc. But this guy is quite slow, and they always, someone always cracks him. So that's the issue. That's, that I'm more concerned about that because I think his takedown defense is elite. Like, after that, he fought Ronnie Torres, 41-8. That guy was in the UFC. He's like never been finished, maybe once in all his losses. And in the first 10 seconds, he jumps on the hips, and Ruffy does like an amazing cat-like avoidance of his hips. Like he's mid-air and he gets his legs back. And I was like, yeah, this guy's got elite balance and hips. And so it's not the takedown defense, it's the striking defense, like you said yourself, that I'm more concerned about. Because sure, Raimond is like a typical grinder, but he has a lot of finishes other than a couple of decisions, right? He went to decision with Impa split, which I was actually going to bet him there, and a lot of my friends bet him, and he lost the split. And I can't tell if he won or lost. He was a lot of scrambles, but beating Impa at welterweight is still impressive, even though he slowed down. Like he'll push through the tiredness. And we know obviously that the Ruffy has elite takedown defense, but we don't know what he's like on the ground. I'm inclined to believe that he has good get-ups, but who knows? Sometimes these guys with elite takedown defense, as soon as they're down, they're just fishes. That's why they're so good at stopping it from getting there. Yeah, it's definitely dog or pass, and I'm definitely going to play it now at this line because someone steamed it when it first opened up, and I was like, I don't really feel like plus 110, 150 or minus 200. But yeah, I saw Raimond, spark someone with the right cross, a 9-0 guy in one. And I'm like, this guy's athletic enough, he's explosive enough, he's probably going to close the distance, he's probably going to hit Ruffy. So that's the thing, and he's brutal in the clinch, like you said as well. So yeah, it's a dog or pass. I thought about playing KO on Ruffy, but I think where the money line is, I think it's pretty close to the actual KO line now. So I think you can. I'm hoping for a counter. I'm hoping for Magomedaliev to be like 33 years old and coming off a layoff. I have this feeling like this is like a prime round one KO spot for Ruffy for the underdog, but we'll see. We're on the same page on that one. It's going to get at least a quarter of a unit for me. Third of a unit. All right, let's just these comments because I have a lot of American viewers. Bailey, cheers from North Carolina. Thank you, mate. He's higher than a giraffe's pussy. It's good to know. Richard, Zen Monkey, always in here. Thank you, mate. Bailey, there we go. He's definitely high because he's commenting again. GWNNWJ. Damn, I caught the stream live. What's up, BigSteve? GN's from Sherdog over here in Canada. Thank you, mate. It's been a while since I had some Sherdog gang. I haven't posted in there in a bit. I'll start doing it again. Bailey, trains with Islam. That's it, mate. 100% dog or pass. All right, next fight. Magomed Gadzhiyasulov versus Jose Daniel Medina. This fight is a bit of a crapshoot. I couldn't even tape it properly, honestly. I looked into Medina, and this guy's out of Bolivia. It's not like Peru, where every single Peruvian is winning in Contender Series. I don't think this guy's the one. Maybe I'm wrong. Who knows? But I looked at his fights and his fat, and I'm like, yeah, this guy must be dropping down to light heavyweight. And they were all at light heavyweight. So I was like, cool. So he's just fat and not at the right class. But this other guy is not the best either. Magomed, he's a bit of a can crusher. Let me just double check his record. Yeah, he's just the best guy was 11-4, who we went to decision with, but the rest is 0-0, 0-2, 0-2, 0-3, 0-0, 2-1, and he's finishing him as he should. But he's got the IMF amateur background, which is always good. Say his amateur career is better than his professional career. We'll say that about someone else later on as well. So yeah, I mean, the Russian should win. The line is absolutely steamed, as I thought it would be. I taped this before the odds dropped. Maybe some unders. I don't know. This Bolivian dude seems kind of tough. He did get rear naked choked in 2018. I don't know, man. You have anything to add that's worthy, or?
No, nothing to add on this fight. This is a pass fight. Like you said, maybe take a look at some of the totals or something. It's plus 175 for the over 1.5, but both of these guys have just been crushing cans, as you said. Jose Medina just looks sloppy everywhere. Grappling's horrendous. Magomed at least has some kind of process to his game. He'd be the much bigger guy, more athletic. I mean, he's clearly the favorite, but he's minus 1,200. So it's no way I can play, or anyone can play any money line here. But yeah, I don't know. The over is kind of interesting at plus 175, but I don't know. It's just going to be sloppy and probably just a pass fight overall.
Is it a 1.5?
Yeah, 1.5. Bet online.
All his finishing, like some of his finishes are just typical, fraud finishes. Just like guys that just shell over, and the last guy 12-5, who went to decision with him. So, yeah, man, that could be a play. Unfortunately, I have to deep dive into this fight, and but it's a bit of a setup, but at least this Bolivian could be tough. So we'll see. The only issue is the submission. He's got a submission loss. Is the grappling disparity that bad that maybe the Russian finds a rear naked choke at some point? But we'll see. I don't want to talk about it anymore. Alrighty, let's move on. Speaking of fights that shit shows, Eduardo, Matias, Torres, Victor, Hugo, Silva. Have you looked into this one in depth, my friend?
I looked into it yesterday. I looked at Torres. He's got a good record, 16-1, but fighting obviously on the South American scene.
Not as good as 23-4.
What? Oh yeah, no, yeah, but they both got pretty good records. They're both both pretty experienced fighters. But Torres, his striking is better than I thought at first. It kind of grew on me the more fights I watched of his. He's got decent shot selection, good timing. Did you see his last fight where he's hit that one of the most perfect knees to the body I've ever seen? The guy was on the floor for about 5 minutes. But like I said, yeah, good timing, got good cardio. I think he went 5 rounds. Was it recently or?
I thought he ran through a few bums in the last ones, I think.
Maybe I'm thinking of someone else.
Shot.
I have seen him. Yeah, I've seen him go 3 rounds at least, and seems to have good cardio. But but he does back up a bit, and his takedown defense is a little bit sus. He tends to kind of just fall over if you try and pursue takedowns. I wish he had a bit more power because he is pretty accurate. But yeah, he's not like flatlining these guys. He's got good shots to the body. He does hurt a lot of guys to the body. But this Victor Silva guy, same height as him, age is similar, so that's all kind of the same between them. But I think Victor's more athletic and aggressive. Seems to have pretty decent power. I didn't find a ton of tape on Silva. I don't know about you. Kind of recent tape, I didn't find a lot. So it's hard to kind of say for sure how it's going to go, but I think he can probably push Torres back just because I've seen worse guys push Torres back. And I also think he can probably hit takedowns, but it's hard to kind of gauge how good Silva's wrestling is against the people he's fighting, or at least the tape I've found. So yeah, I haven't really looked too much into betting this fight because it's quite tight in the light. The line is quite tight. But what do you think?
Yeah, man. This is such a weird fight. It's like two guys with amazing records that I've never heard of, never heard anyone speak of, and they're so padded. Like 23-4. Like this guy was 17-4 back in 2017, or 14-4 2016, and it's like no one ever brought him on LFA, or any other promotion. He's just going around Espera FC, which I assume is Brazilian. Just weird. I felt like I was in a vortex taping this fight. Like, who are these guys? What world are they from? Obviously, the Chilean dude. I hope that's Chile. Oh yeah, it is. He's just a typical guy fighting on the Latino regional scene. We see them all the time. But this Brazilian guy is just weird that he's not even in jungle or anything like that. But yeah, I mean, I found his most recent fight where he just drops down for a heel hook in 23 seconds. What are you going to see from that? Other than the fact that he likes to drop for heel hooks, which is not a good sign.
Yeah.
And I found his Pancrase fight in 2019 against Keme, and they both seem to be strikers. I mean, what's his name? Hugo Silva's nickname is literally Striker, so kind of gives it away. But he likes to wrestle. I'm seeing him wrestle a lot, especially in that decision fight. And he's got a good overhand right. That seems to be his best punch. But yeah, a lot of padded opponents on both theirs. I didn't tape deep because it's like this is going to be a shit show. I feel like it's going to open up at Pick'em, which it did. And then I was like, I'll just move on to another fight and deep dive it after today and see if I can find something. I see a lot of people, money's coming in on Hugo, and a lot of people seem to be leaning Hugo. That's probably because as you said, Torres has issues with takedown defense, and Hugo will go for it. But my boy Pierce said if it gets any crazier, he's probably just gonna hit Torres because it feels like a pick and fight. I'm gonna look into it deep and then make my decision. But Torres kind of reminds me of Bahamondes, just like serviceable enough striking. All these guys from Chile, Peru, they have good cardio, so maybe it's a competitive striking fight. Maybe it does well. But yeah, it's hard to gauge how good these guys really are. That's the thing. Maybe some more overs, grapple heavy overs, because these guys have a lot of finishes. So who knows?
Yeah, I think the overs probably could be a decent shout. It's 2.5 is plus 150, so
yeah, it's a bit risky at 2.5, but it probably goes over, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, I get this feeling that Hugo can be good, like he's just such a mystery. I mean, he could be shit too, but who knows? His last loss was to Linares. I think it's a really good guy. He's like 16-1. He beat Marcelo. Yeah, he's and he beat Harrison in PFL and just beat Rojo. He's a really good fighter, but broken rib is just possible to know. Alrighty, Let's go to the main event, making some good progress. We got SC for all. This is my Puerto Rican buddy from Sherdog. Got some Sherdog boys in here today. It's good. Nostalgic. GRBCK. UFC probably wants the Chile guy to win. They already have a lot of Brazilian fighters. I mean, if it's anything like the Peruvian invasion, they probably do. Not many Chileans in there. But yeah, I mean, just depends who's better, really. Also, this is the 100th episode, so I do have a competition running. I just completely forgot to mention it. I'll do it at the end of the pod. Alrighty. Rodolfo Bellato versus Murtaza Talha. So I have a bet on here, so I'll go first if you don't mind, my friend, and then I'll let you have it. I bet Bellato at plus 300, $4. He wasn't an easy click, I'll be honest. I know Bellato quite well. I do think that he's quite chinny. I do think that he has low IQ as well. I think the best guy he's beat was Dos Santos in his LFA fight. I bet him there where a lot of money came in on Dos Santos. He ended up being $1.60, better than minus 200. He ended up only losing one round. But, that was also a hard click at minus money. Only reason I played it is because Dos Santos is, so harmless and, didn't have much power. And I thought it was just the overreaction. And I like to fade the public, the CLV. And yeah, even then, he pulled guard. His wrestling was dreadful. When he hits a takedown, he's good on top. But other than that, he's always making you nervous, really, with that chinniness, the IQ, pulling guard and stuff. So that was his best win, and the rest were just cab drivers in LFA, which he was hurt, and he would pull guard against those cab drivers too, and he would get a submission. Pardon me. And then, fought Victor Petrino twice and, got deaded twice. Second time, put up a bit of a fight. But I'm at least glad that he went to a decision for the first time in his career, and even a 5-round decision against the Santos, because that was the other stuff. That was the other concern I had with him, along with the IQ. But, he's big. He's a natural light heavyweight. He hits hard, and he's got jiu-jitsu as well. This Talha guy, taping him for the first time, he's definitely not a natural light heavyweight. He's got a lot of catchweight fights and even a middleweight fight. And, one of the commentators on Braves was saying, he never really weighs in at light heavyweight because it seems to be like he's cutting down to middleweight. And then he just ended up, fighting here at light heavyweight. So, he's not the biggest. He's run through literally everyone. And I went through all their records, all these professional guys. They're all padded. They're all 0-0, 0-0-0-0. So it's obviously they've all been brought in for him to run through. This is the other guy that I said has a better amateur record. He's a 3-time IMF champion, or 2-time. So he's never lost. He's been back twice and won the whole thing. So that's impressive. Definitely, he's got people like Anton Turkaj, Cathal Manning, Magomed, Shurduniov. So way better wins, and he's going to decision with him. And I watched those just to see his cardio, and he's got a couple of splits, and he's definitely looking a little bit. He's looking a little bit tired, even though he's essentially just grinding on him. So he's definitely the smaller guy. He's explosive. He's athletic. He's great at taking the back and locking in a rear naked choke. And obviously, if you look at his professional career, it looks like he has power. But I wouldn't say he hits that hard, because he doesn't have many finishes on amateurs. He's young too, so I'm expecting improvement 27. So yeah, why I took Bellato is, $4 is crazy. This is the LFA champ. He's been on Contender Series. Despite all his issues with the chin, is Talha going to easily wrestle him? Let's say you fade the chin. Let's say you fade the KO. I'm leaning towards the fact that Talha probably shouldn't be able to KO him easily. He doesn't hit as hard as Petrino. Petrino also doesn't hit hard, I should say that. He doesn't have one punch KO power. It's why I think Bellato's chinny. But if you fade that, he's going to take the back of Rodolfo, who's a good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, and just choke him out. I don't think so. If you think this is going to go to decision, then as flaky and chinny and stupid as Bellato is, $4 has to have some value. It's coming a bit, but I think if we see Murtaza extended for the first time in his pro career, he could potentially gas. He was slowing down in 3x3 rounds in amateurs. So yeah, it was a value play, and yeah, half a unit. Super nervous about it. What about you, mate?
Yeah, I can't fault it, to be honest. I think I'll have a bet on this fight, and I think I'm going to bet the over. Only small, because obviously it is a light heavyweight fight in Contender Series. But I just see a lot of cage pushing happening in this fight. It just kind of happens in both of their fights that I watched. There was a lot of cage wrestling, and that's what Bellato likes to do. If he can't get the takedowns, he'll just push you to the cage. Striking is serviceable for a kind of a jiu-jitsu guy. He's got good cardio for his size. I think it was him I was thinking of because he went 5 rounds in his last fight versus Dos Santos. But he does get a bit sloppy, and like you said, he pulls guard, which is never nice to see if you're kind of if you're putting money on him. I watched his Contender Series fight versus Petrino, and he did eat some hard shots from Petrino. I don't think his chin is dust, but obviously the shot that put him out, kind of makes you question whether his chin is good or not. But I don't think it's as bad as I thought. So it's not like Talha could one punch KO him. I would be surprised to see that happen. Even on the regional scene, Murtaza is, taking the guys down and then either sinking in a rear naked choke or, letting go with kind of hard ground and pound. He's not really striking at range. And I think Talha, in most of the fights, pretty much all the fights that I watched of his, he's the bigger man. Whereas this time, he's going to be considerably smaller or a couple inches shorter. Like Bellato is obviously the best guy he's fought. I think you alluded to it. The guys that Talha has been fighting, I think I saw that his last 4 opponents, none of them have a win against a winning opponent.
Correct.
So he's fighting absolute bums who are just brought in, to lose basically. So I think this will be the first kind of actual fight of his professional career, at least. I know he fought some good guys on the amateurs. But yeah, I agree. I think there's probably value on Bellato, and I think there's value on the over as well. It's come in a bit. I think some people jumped on it, but I think plus 190 still it is pretty good. I could easily see burning minutes just against the cage. So yeah, I haven't played anything yet. I'm waiting for props on my books, but I think I'll be on the over.
Nice, man. It's a scary play, especially. I think it all depends on Bellato. Like if he comes out there swinging because he thinks he needs a finish. We've seen other Brazilians do that and fight like idiots. But if he comes and does that, I've seen Talha hit a lot. I don't think Talha's striking is the best. He's been hit a lot by these guys that he's finishing. He's happy to stand in the pocket. He kind of has short arms, which makes sense from a short, stocky middleweight by trade. So yeah, man, I think Bellato can definitely drop him, clean his clock. But yeah, I mean that makes sense. If I wasn't on Bellato already, maybe I should play the over. Maybe it hedges me, but it's a scary fight in general. Maybe are you not contemplating the money line, or do you think the over is kind of like the safe option?
I think. What did you get? Plus 300.
Plus 300, but I mean, I think there's value. I mean, they essentially think he's going to run through Bellato in round 1, which I don't see. That's the only reason he's so favorite.
That's why I like the over, because I think either could win and it could still go over. Whereas it's less likely that Bellato would win, but I don't know. I feel like
Bellato's path is under, because is he gonna cage push Talha, who's actually the better wrestler, for 3 rounds? Like that's he was getting out-muscled by Petrino. He was getting reversed by Petrino. The only time he did good was when he actually bit down and threw, and then he actually dropped Petrino and then jumped on his back. I think he needs chaos and potentially try gas out Talha and sub him or like finish him because he's not. I think he's going to gas. I think Talha's going to get a adrenaline dump. Yeah, like GRBK says, Talha's more likely to win decision because he's just a cleaner, better wrestler. So if anyone's going to grind, it's probably Talha. But
yeah,
I don't see Bellato grinding on him. Like he was barely able to do it to Dos Santos. And Dos Santos, we've seen Anton Turkaj actually 30-26 him with wrestling, and Bellato couldn't even. He had like 2 takedowns in 5 rounds. It was embarrassing. I was like pulling my hair out. And then luckily, just like I said, Dos Santos is so harmless. He just lost rounds being stuck against the cage. But I think Talha's probably going to dig the underhooks and get out of there. And he has like a Travis Brown knockout as well. So I can easily see Bellato going down and getting Travis Brown knocked out with elbows. That's just something he will do.
But he's doing that against like the bottom of the barrel, you know.
Yeah. But he was like a sharp elbow, like the technique is there. He's not, and didn't Dos Santos do the same thing to Bellato, and then Bellato just pulled guard? He like abandoned ship.
He does do that.
Who knows, man? It would be a fun fight. Even if I lose money, which is a high likelihood. But I actually expected some CLV, so I did get some, but I expected some more. I expected people to catch on, the sharps to catch on, which is not too late, and to see, all right, this guy is, he's fighting bums. We've seen this before in Contender. He's actually a middleweight. Hopefully after the podcast, like Narco and stuff, some of those guys, they talk about that stuff. The public will steam it, and then I've got 700 to win 2,000 and something, so I only need 1,500 for a unit, and I might even just do like 1,000. So I might just hedge the whole lot because it's tough. It's tough to bet on Bellato.
Would you bet the over if you hadn't bet Bellato?
I don't know, man. I'm thinking about it now. It's just I feel like if I bet the over and Bellato wins in under 1.5, I would be upset at myself because I capped the guy as a fraud, Talha, as a potential fraud who might gas, and then I can't play the over in that case. I liked your the guy that fought Hardwick. I liked that over because the only thing I was fading there was a Hardwick, like a one-shot KO, and he has a lot of them over 1.5, so that was like a no-brainer. I didn't play it, but I like that bet. Here it's like, this is so volatile. It just depends on how Bellato comes out, and you could tell in the first 5 seconds that the under's gonna hit, So I don't like to put my money on shootouts. I don't know if it's gonna go over. I don't know if it's gonna go under. I don't know if either guy's gonna flake. That's just my thought process.
Yeah, I feel like it is. To me, it's quite similar to the Hardwick fight because we've got a guy who's been knocked out multiple times, which is why the under is lined how it is. But then you've also got the other guy who's not necessarily a one-punch knockout artist. It's like if Talha was starching these guys at range, I'd be more worried. But he's not. He's like taking them down and then wearing on them.
Ground and pounding. Well, it's hard. Yeah, they're literally just flaking, man. They're literally just flaking because they're not a high level of opposition. And his amateurs, they're all getting extended, which they should get extended really. I mean, doesn't hit that hard for undersized guy to knock out someone like Bellato. That's my opinion anyway. Alrighty, let's wrap it up. I'll probably play some Ruffy. I think you're the same. Look at some over-unders. Might be on the over with this Magomed dude. My boy, what's his name? SC for all said 2 largest favorites on this card are fighting out of KHK from Bahrain. I wonder if they'll be given layups. Bellato's definitely not a layup. I think the UFC, whenever someone's an LFA champ, UFC signs him. I think this is just like a good main event, LFA champ, and then Talha, whoever wins this, is ready for the UFC. But the other guy is definitely a layup. If you got a line of $4 or higher, stick with Bellato. I also think $3 something is high. Like I give Talha maybe 60%, 65%. I see this a competitive fight where he wins a decision or he just but honestly, the more I'm talking about it, It could be a pick'em, man. It could be a pick'em. It just seems like a volatile fight. Alrighty, that's that. I'll talk about the competition now. So it's the 100th episode. I was going to do something crazy, but I can't be bothered. I think having the man Subliminal back, that's impressive enough as it is. We had 3 or 4 weeks. You're a popular guest, mate. So what we're going to do is I'm going to start giving away money again. So comment your best bet for this card. Just know the only thing I did last time, Bellato rounds 1-2 and Talha 3 decision, none of those, and no parlays, and no same game parlays. But you can do actually you can do round 3 or decision or Bellato round 1, round 2, whatever. Just know those 5-round fights, where it was like someone rounds 1, 2, and 3, none of those. So you can do money line, over unders, specific props, methods, like Ruffy KO, for example. Comment that. The video has to have 50 likes minimum. I'm looking at my averages. They're all 38. They're in the 40s. I've got almost 500 subscribers. You can get 50 likes. 50 likes, 15 comments. I think it was more than that last time. We'll start with that. 50 likes, 50 comments. 50 likes, 15 comments. And one comment each. And it has to be 3 hours before the card starts because people were cheating last time. And I'll give money to 2 winners. I'll give you $50. I'll PayPal you, and I'll give one person a 1 month free subscription to the Big Brain, which is $30 a month. And then you can pick. So make sure the video has 15 comments minimum, 50 likes, otherwise it's ineligible. And Dan Hamilton, make sure you put it in comments, the video comments, not live. And I'm going to do one because the 100th episode ended up on a pretty gay episode on Contender Series. I'm going to do it. I'm going to keep the competition going for the UFC as well. So cool. Thank you, mate. You got anything to add?
No, nothing, man. Just thank you for having me for the 100th episode. It was a good one.
All right. Like, subscribe. There he is from the old days. Subliminal MMA. No worries. Well, good luck on your bets, and I'm going to go deep dive into some of these and see if we can find the play.
Nice one. Take care, man.
Have a good one.